you noticed how many Tranquil are in the gallows courtyard lately? And don't tell me I'm just sensitive to it. I've been watching, and every day there are new Tranquil, selling their bloody wares. Good mages too. People I know past their harrowing.
Are you imagining some sinister plot to turn all the mages in Kirkwall Tranquil?
I'm not imagining it. The Templars are using the right of tranquility to silence those who speak against them. They're working on a deliberate plan to turn every mage in Kirkwall within the next 3 years.
Whatever you think of Templars, you can't imagine they're so heartless.
They're worse. There are groups in Kirkwall who help those fleeing the Circle. I've talked to people on the inside. The plan is the work of a Templar named Sir Alrek. I've had a run-in with him myself. He's the one who did the ritual on Carl. Nasty piece of work. Likes to make mages beg.
What happened between you and Sir Alrek?
I've been involved with an underground resistance. Mages living free in Kirkwall who help others escape. I can't tell you any more, for your sake and theirs. You have too much involvement with the Guard and nobility. Suffice it to say, I've been in the gallows. I've seen his work firsthand.
What else do you know about Sir Alrek?
The Knight Commander is at least sincere in her convictions. However misguided, she believes she's helping people. Sir Ulrich's a sadist. Cold-blooded as a lizard. He likes to experiment on mages. Find out what it takes to push them into the arms of demons.
How do we stop them?
My friends in the Mage Underground know a way inside. A secret entrance under the walls of the gallows. Come with me tonight, please. Help me find the evidence of Sir Ulrich's Tranquil solution.
What do you mean, Tranquil solution?
That's what he calls it. His idea of a peaceful solution to the mage problem. To sunder the mind of every mage in the free marches. I'm told he's bringing his proposal to Val Royeaux, to the Divine herself. He would turn every mage in Thedas into a drooling simpleton under his command.
If this plot exists, it must be exposed.
I am honored by your trust. I'm ready to go when you are. Our entrance is concealed not far from here.
What's going on, everybody? Alright, I learned a few things here in this dialogue with Anders right here, and I'll just set aside my personal feelings for Anders and everything about Anders, and that there being no exception to any part of Anders, as far as that goes. But something I've noticed about his whole psychology is that he has this epic movie playing in his head, in which he's the star of, right? He's going to be the one that brings about the change necessary to free all the mages, because all the mages are abused, right? From the hands of the Templars, because all Templars are evil, right? And using Kirkwall as an example, well, crap, that there is actually some truth to that. It seems like most of the Templars have gone astray. In fact, I would venture to guess that most of the Templars in Kirkwall aren't even Templars. They may be wearing Templar armor, but they're just as much Carta thugs as these Dwarven lyrium smugglers that they deal with on a daily basis, right?
This is it. This tunnel will take us into the gallows. Are you ready to help me find evidence of the Tranquil solution?
Let's go.
But see, he even has a title for his movie already, in which he's playing the star role. He already has the scenes plotted out. I can see him in his own mind riding across the desert on his white steed with the Arabic garments flowing in the wind, you know, waving his scimitar about to, you know, save the world from whatever. And, you know, there's no room for reality in all of that. Reality is normally a lot less glamorous than that. Even when you're solving huge problems, you know, even when you do have epic battles, when you have world wars going on and stuff like that, it's really not all that glamorous. When you get down in the trenches, it's just a bunch of grunts smoking cigarettes and trying to clean the mud off their boots. I mean, really. But he has this whole thing going on, and a lot of flamboyance there. And another part of his brain, he's got that whole stalker mentality. You know, For example, you ladies might have met somebody like this. Like, say you've got that guy who, as soon as you agree to have coffee with him, well, in his mind, you've already agreed to have 3 children, settle down in a home, devote your life to him, never question his orders, cook and clean for him every day of your life, and be the dedicated princess in his castle type thing. When, the guy's still living in his mom's basement. I mean, the glamour, the facade that Hollywood cinematics that take place in the mind often don't reflect any part of reality. Well, I see that in spades with Anders here. So I think they personify a lot of the bad elements that could come along with just a person in general in Anders. They've kind of lumped a lot of that into him, all under this facade of seemingly niceness. And I think the most successful predators, sociopaths and serial predators, whether they be serial killers or molesters or whatever, I think their success plays off of their ability to socialize, their ability to win people over, snow people over, charm and manipulate. All right, manipulate in such a way as to, if you don't serve their own particular purposes, you should somehow feel guilty for that. All right, and Anders does this crap like all the time. And anyway, I see that in spades. No good can come of that. When you've got that extremely self-centered, sociopathic, egotistical type of mentality in play here, and that person has at the power at his disposal to make bad things happen, well, bad things are going to happen. We'll see that. But anyway, all right, so he's allied himself with the Mage Underground, and we'll find out later just how deep that goes and what that actually implies. But the Mage Underground, I understand the Templars are as bad as they are, and we're about to deal with a major problem amongst the Templars here. But this isn't the Templars. This is Sir Alrek. This is some predator, serial friggin', I don't know, serial killer / rapist / whatever in Templar armor. All right, and we'll go deal with him. But that's not the Templars. All right, so the mages. This Mage Underground is not the mages. This is a group of blood mages who are attempting to undermine the Circle Tower. Now, Anders has twisted that cause as into something that's working for the mages, whereas Anders is actually the key to the problem, in that he has essentially organized these underground mages and has some position amongst, well, here we go, our party here, right? And he has some influence around town to where he can move more freely up here due to his association with us, allowing him to do things he probably otherwise wouldn't do. He'd be hiding in a corner like a scared rat, with a lot of the other mages underground. But he can move around somewhat more freely, and he would abuse any trust we might have. Now, me knowing Anders here playing the game, I have no trust whatsoever for him, and for all the right reasons. But let's just say my Hawk, from a role-playing aspect, would have some trust in Anders. He would take that trust, and you'll hear him talk, especially at the end of this quest. You'll see what I'm saying. I'm trying to put it into light, so when you hear it and see it, you might say, "Oh wow, holy crap, this is serious," right? Is that he goes above and beyond. Like if Anders says, "Hey, I got up at 6 this morning," you say, "Oh yeah, around 6 o'clock, such and such," and you believe him that he got up at 6 that morning. In his mind, you slept with him the night before. And you know what I mean? He like goes off into left field, then twists it, and then starts playing off of that in his own mind. And he's got this whole thing going on here, all right? And the fact that he's helping to lead and associate with this rebellion that has the lives of others at stake, that's scary, okay? And we'll see just how badly that ends later. Anyway, just kind of throwing that all out there. Well, the Mage Underground is essentially the blood mages who are like Tironi, who we already fought, and Tironi, whose evil tomes we're finding everywhere, and leads to one of the biggest demon battles in the game. That underground is what Anders is actually working with. All right, so that Anders is doing any good thing whatsoever for the mages or the Templars or Kirkwall or the world or anybody else is totally preposterous. He's evil and wrong in every way, and maybe he does or does not know it. But point is now he's beyond being able to point it out to him anyway. Anders can't be corrected now. He's dead set in his ways, and that if the truth stares him in the face, which we will also see later on, he's incapable of dealing with that because it would mean that he's been wrong. All right, that somehow his cause, his just cause that he's devoted his life, or his movie that he's got playing in his head, this cause that he's devoted that movie to is off. you know, it's bad, it's wrong, okay, and so not able to deal with him on that level. He is, on the flip side, as this Alrek that we have here, he's as bad on the flip side as far as amongst the mages. Gives mages a bad name. The mages themselves at the Circle Tower, who would just like a place to learn and be left alone without being raped, beaten, murdered, made tranquil, okay? You know, I totally get that. And there really is no place for them to find that kind of shelter here in the Kirkwall Circle, because it's being run by thugs. Here you see what the Templars bring in. They bring in a criminal organization so they can get their lyrium fix, right? But along with this Carta comes the murder, kidnapping, assassinations, and so on and so forth, right? That come along with these thugs, with these mafia type organizations, right? That's what you get, all right? And the Templars are basically, that's their trade-off, you know, to get their dope. They allowed these dope dealers to come through and do everything else that they do in the city streets. And since the Templars essentially run the law in Kirkwall, they get to basically go unchecked. Notice every time we turn a corner, we're having to kill somebody who's trying to kill us because we're stepping on their toes. We're somehow getting in the way of them turning a dime, making a profit, or just getting to just randomly hurt people. Okay, and that's what we face, and the Templars are in a big part responsible for this. The part they're not responsible for, the mages are responsible for, with their underground and all of their activities and bringing in their slavers. All right, they've gone so far as to even deal with Tevinter slavers, or allow an open door for Tevinter slavers to come in and take advantage of these mages who think they're leaving the circle and wind up in an even worse situation than what they were, because now they're a slave with some minor magic ability amongst the Tevinters, and they're, you know, sold off into that. And so, yeah, it's just lose-lose no matter which way you go. And the mages are just as wrong as the Templars. People want to pick a side, and you know what? Whichever side you take, should you pick either, you're wrong equally both ways. You know, you may want to sympathize with these, but you will be in error for doing so. Well, then you may want to sympathize with those. Well, you'd still be in error because they're kind of all tripping. And the few individuals that aren't corrupt amongst either of these organizations are basically fighting an uphill battle, because you're trying to stop a wheel in motion that's not going to be stopped. This is a train that's going to wreck. Whatever it hits is going to be destroyed, along with the train itself. It's going to get derailed. It's just, it's a matter of when, and it's a matter of basically how many cars are going to be involved in that pileup. That's kind of really the only thing we're defining here. That it's going to happen is a given. And if there's a way to stop it, the people who are complaining the loudest about it are the ones causing it and making sure that it happens. Does that make sense? All right, so, you know, that's kind of what I'm seeing here, because everyone, you know, it's basically too late to forgive, and the pride of man is not going to allow these sins that both sides feel have been committed to against each other to go unanswered, right? Even if the sin was committed by one person, that whole organization is responsible. One blood mage raises a demon, well, all the mages are responsible. Fact is, the more this carries on, the more mages are raising demons, right? It's feeding itself. And so in defending themselves, they are adding more fuel to the argument against them. This is both sides doing that. So the mages, like I say, trying to defend themselves, making it worse. Templars also.
Please,
It's just a lose-lose.
That's a lie. What do we do to mages who lie?
I just wanted to see my mum. No one ever told her where they were taking me.
No, this is their place. We cannot...
So, you admit your attempted escape. You know what happens to mage girls who don't toe the line around here, don't you?
Please, no! Don't make me Tranquil. I'll do anything.
That's right. Once you're Tranquil, you'll do anything I ask.
This piece of shit needs to die. Now. Naughty, naughty.
The Chantry
Tisk,
frowns
tisk.
on
Feel my
Templars who
blade.
take personal advantage of their
Bay me,
trust.
arrow to the face.
Who's this?
You fiends will never touch a mage again.
This is actually one of the, can be one of the nastier fights. I choose to just get out of this little room right here. I don't remember exactly where all the spawns are anyway. I remember they, of course, they drop out of the ceilings like the rest of the enemies, but let me go down here and just kind of bring them to me instead of coming to them. Choose your own battlefield, so to speak, right? So anyway, point being made is not all Templars are Sir Alrek, but Alrek needs to die. Not all mages are Tyroni or Anders, but Tyroni and Anders need to die. they need to go. They're a poison. They are the cause of what we see here. And you know, of course, they in their own minds have their own rationalizations for their behaviors, but still doesn't excuse what they do. Okay, these Templar hunters here, these are the baddies. These are the worst of the worst as far as the assassins go, in my opinion. Even worse than the Carta assassins, it seems. Because they can disappear so often. They can just spam that. I guess because they're lieutenant level assassins or something. But getting them out of the way makes all this more manageable. Thankfully, the Templar archers in this particular round don't hit quite as hard as most archers, I think. Kind of to balance this fight a little bit, I guess. Which is a small favor. Sometimes you just have bad luck and they just come in and immediately like one-shot both your mages right off the top. And as much of a tank as Aveline is, she can't take that forever.
I will have every last Templar for these abuses.
The Templars are gone. You can stop glowing.
Every one of them will feel justice's burn.
Get away from me, demon!
I am no demon. Are you one of them, that you would call me such?
Anders, that girl is a mage. We rescued her from being made Tranquil.
She is theirs. I can feel their hold on her.
She's the reason you're fighting Anders. Don't turn on her now. Please, Messer.
Baker, no. I almost... If you weren't here, I need to get out of here.
Yes, next time you decide to do that, you're going to make sure I'm not around, right? There's no good thing about you, dude. And you're going to have to either face that or bury it in your mind to the point that you're unredeemable, which we know is the case. That's what's going to happen. Because you're not going to be corrected. You're not going to admit you're wrong. Alright, but we do find evidence here, right, in Alrek's papers, and basically what this says is he took his Tranquil solution, which was a thing, even though Anders did over-dramatize it. You know, it is a thing, and it began and ended with this dude. He took that to the powers that be, including Meredith, alright, and they rejected it. They were like, no, this is outside of our order. As off as Meredith may be in her mind, she still has some sense of the Templar code, I guess, to some extent, although what she allows to happen underneath her is unforgivable. Unforgivable. And I will use that word strongly. Unforgivable. What Meredith is allowed to happen under her command amongst the quote-unquote Templars who aren't Templars. Hear what the Kirkwall Circle has become. It's her responsibility, just based on her inaction, if not her actions. Her inaction has allowed to it, has spoken just as strongly as anything she might have done directly. It's what she's allowed to happen indirectly. Same thing. You know, the harm's in place. And anyway, creating this fertile environment for all these hostilities to just escalate to the point that they're not going to be stopped. And so that's what we have here.
You saved my life, Messer. What was that thing?
Exactly what it looked like. I would notice the eyes on Anders are identical to the eyes of
whether he admits it or not.
Solus.
Can I...
Or Fen'Harel, whatever you want to call him, at the end of Inquisition. Identical.
Find your parents, but don't stay there. You must leave Kirkwall. I know. There's nowhere in the city where Sir Alrek's men won't find me. Thank you, Messer. Andraste herself must have put you in that room.
I'm wondering if the line between gods and devils, angels and demons is not so defined in the Dragon Age universe, as a lot of their religious and spiritual principles are yet to be fully defined, you know, fully understood, exactly what they're kind of getting at, so to speak. Kind of leaves a lot of things open to interpretation. But regardless, those were the eyes of Solus at the end of Inquisition, when he takes on Mythal, I guess. Takes the essence of Mythal, getting off into spirit essence, and exactly what that does and doesn't mean is, you know, a little outside my knowledge, but just pointing it out. As far as the animations go, it was the same, and I don't think that was by accident.
Trash. Trash. Keep. Trash. Trash. Won't be needing that anymore.
This is all Sir Alrek had. Looks like the Tranquil solution began and ended with him.
Let me see that. The Divine rejected the idea.
Oh, imagine
Meredith rejected the idea. This was not what I expected. Perhaps I should try talking to the Grand Cleric. Maybe she's more reasonable than I thought. Thank you. I will think on what you've said.
Yeah, but you're going to not go talk to her. Talk being the key word. The language you're going to use, yeah, nobody's going to be hearing that. At least not tomorrow. Yeah. His thinking on it, we'll see where that leads to.
What are you doing?
I don't think he's capable of admitting he's
Putting out
wrong.
milk. I miss having a cat around. But I think the refugees have scared them all off. Or maybe eaten them. You know, I've been meaning to thank you. You don't need to stick your neck out for the mages here. But you have.
Not really.
We'll make a world where your sister can be free again.
What's this wee shit? See, he's got it played out in his head. It gets worse. You'll see. What's the progression of his thinking?
I'm really not trying to make a stand. I just keep ending up in these situations.
I know. That's what makes it matter. You follow your convictions. When you still believed in me after I almost killed that poor girl.
No, I didn't. I never said I did.
You wouldn't
No.
say it just to make me feel better. You make me think I can really do this. Lead a revolution.
What? How did I start supporting that shit in your mind that I knew nothing about?
I didn't realize you were planning anything that big.
No small change would address the injustice that mages face. The Chantry itself must be overturned. There will always be mages born in Thedas. But Templars are made by men. And they can be unmade.
He's gone.
Why does
He's
this
gone.
matter so much to you?
You saw Sir Ulrich's plan. How many Templars would prefer that every mage was a mindless, drooling babe?
I can't guess that, just like I can't guess which mage is a blood mage or not.
Night that magic is sin. A mark on your soul of the Maker's hatred. But for all the talk of demons, the most common death I saw for a mage was suicide.
Well, you all need to get over your emotions then.
Why do none of my friends ever just want to be the best wallet player in Lowtown?
With the great Hawk deigned to associate with the best wallet player in Lowtown. Seriously, though, I couldn't do this without your support. I couldn't hold on to this spirit
Hold
of
on
vengeance
to
inside me.
the spirit of
But I
vengeance
know
inside you.
You won't let me lose myself to him.
So you could essentially let that go, maybe? Dude? And who the fuck said I was supporting you? You can piss off with all that
I
freaky
can't go on like this.
Hollywood cinematics in your head. I'm no part of your drama, dude. You're gonna make me part of my drama and everyone else. And we're all gonna pay a price for it, too. Yeah. Anyway, so you see his whole thinking, he goes off in his own world and everyone else has played this role that doesn't resemble the real world in any way, shape, or form. But it's this epic thing that he's already played out in his head and how he's going to be a star of it and be super drama queen and everything's emo and everything's hand to the forehead. Alas, thuseth, I dideth, for all of youeth and all this other bullshit. And dude, there's no place in the real world. There's no place among normal society. There's no place among my friends for that type of crap. Get on with that bullshit. Just go die somewhere, or and so that other people can live. Because he's just bad. He's dangerous to himself and others.
You've had luck on your travels? Another message came
Are you really
while
getting
you were
involved
away.
with this canal?
It's on your desk.
Be careful.
Looks like dog has a table
Take
leg.
this outside and see if it floats.
Can't be mad at him for being a dog. Wonder which table that came off of, though. Well, too late now. Can't undo it. Might as well go play fetch. I gotta love animals, man. They just want to play. They understand the important things, right? Alright, so came back here to just check on messages. I don't think this is a quest. This is just a thanks from, what was his name? Keenan, that one Templar who we saved from Tironi. It's from Keenan's sister. Allowed them to continue making a living, although keeping Keenan in the order may not have been the best favor for him in the long run. Because he's able to put some bread on the table. It's good of him to take care of his sister. That's awesome. It looks like I have a fetch him quest to deliver. And we got some other companion stuff. Each one of these companion ones, that's kind of like a little mission in and of itself.
You were very close to losing your printing blocks, Barrick.
Once more, I am falsely accused of whatever it is I am accused of. Falsely.
Falsely accused of whatever it is I'm accused of. Falsely.
Blooming Rose.
Wonder of wonders. Ooh, that does sound pretty good.
Sure. Fill the barracks with whores.
Wow. Varric printed basically, what was it? Hooker ads? And filled the guard barracks with hooker ads for the Blooming Rose. That was pretty funny.
Good to see you, Captain.
Alright, what I'm going to do here is head over to, apparently it's Bartrand's mansion. Varric has gotten a lead to on where his brother might be. His brother's back in town, having something to do with that red lyrium idol, I'm sure. And like I say, this is pretty much a quest in and of itself. So we'll get onto this in the next one. Probably take a while. I think I've looted everything here. I think I've looked around. Like I say, at the end of this chapter, right before we go on to the next part of the game, I will go back and double check everything. Hit all the merchants one more time. You know, just do the standard routine. Maybe backtrack a few other areas, see if I can't get a random mob to spawn, see if there's an item I forgot to pick up, all that kind of stuff. But, that's cool. I think I've been pretty thorough anyway, as we go along, because we've been pretty much doing something somewhere day and night, right? And we'll be returning to some of those areas a few times here in the future also. It seems like we have to go to the docks one more time for something. Beyond just dealing with the Canary, I think there's some little side quest that spawns down there after we get, you know, certain way into the main story quest or something like that. Maybe it's Act 3 I'm thinking of. I don't know. Look at there. Also have to go do the DLC at some point. I think I may actually save that for the absolute last thing we do in this chapter, right before we go on to end this chapter and go on to the next. That sounds like a plan. I'm going to filter through all this junk, see if there's anything usable. And then, actually, we're right around the corner from a merchant, so I'll probably go sell off anything real quick before we get into Bartrand's mansion. I actually need the inventory space. If I remember right, there's some loot to be had in there. And the fewer things you have on hand, it seems like the more stuff they drop. I know that's true with potions. If you need injury kits and health potions to drop, then get rid of the ones you have in your inventory, and it's much higher drop rate for that kind of stuff. So it looks like I have a good amount of junk here to get rid of. So let me go do that real quick. Trip down to my favorite backpack merchant. I think this guy's a backpack in... well, he's had one in the first 2 acts. I think he has one in Act 3, too, if I remember right. I don't know. Also, I'm kind of wondering where our buddy from the Bone Pit, where he's at. He's missing, and at some point he spawns. We have to go to the Bone Pit for some stuff in Act. All 3 acts have Bone Pit related stuff. I may just make a trip out there and see if I need to make a showing out there for something to get something to spawn. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, we'll figure all that out later. We got much game ahead of us. For now, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe, click that button up top. And for the rest of this Let's Play up to this point, hit that image there in the middle. Take you to the playlist. Y'all take care. I appreciate you watching. All right, bye-bye.